guys, this is Crafty Mom here with part 2 of our book making series. This is showing you how we made the symbols that went on our front cover. So I just took a piece of, it's just one of those plastic divider sheets that you can get for like a notebook or a 3-ring binder, and we're using hot glue. So we have our symbol underneath and we're using hot glue to trace around it. This is a symbol that my daughter likes from one of her favorite TV shows, and so she's actually recreating that. So and this is for personal use, so you know, you can use whatever symbol you want to use. I believe my son has the Dodge emblem on his book. That's the cool thing about this. So she traced around the outside, and now she's filling it in. She's filling it in with the hot glue to make it kind of a solid piece. And then when this is dry, she will peel this off and then put it on her book. Now, you have to remember to spray the plastic with cooking spray, otherwise it makes it a little more difficult to get the hot glue off when it's time to release. This can, depending on your symbol, take a lot of glue, and she's kind of hovering over the light. I apologize for that, so it's kind of dark. You can't really see what she's doing very easily, but this is what she chose to put on her book, and it actually did turn out pretty awesome. Just take creative license and do whatever you want to do. All right, now I'm going to show you how we do the inside of the book, and I'm just using scrapbooking paper. I liked this one because it has like the little dandelion flowers on it. And I measured out the inside cover of the book that I was putting this into, so I'm just cutting it out with just regular scissors. You can use a paper trimmer if you want, or whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm just using scissors, regular scissors. So you cut this out, and then we grab the book that we're putting this into, and when I bound this book, some of the pages did stick, and that's okay. Just gently peel them off, it's easy to fix. So I take the paper and I lay it inside, and I glue this on the inside cover. Now this makes it kind of look like those older books that had like the pretty inside covers. You can use whatever paper you want. You can put a map in here, you can do whatever your heart desires. I mean, these books are meant to be personalized, so you can do whatever you want. And I'm just using wet glue, just regular old school glue. And I lay it in there, and I have binder clips, as you can see, on the top and the bottom, and I will just press this in, and then I will binder clip it in until it dries. That way it doesn't bulge or crack or any of that. These books are pretty cool. I will show you how I did the pages and things, I think a little later in this video, but this is how I did the inside cover. I don't know why I recorded this wonky, but bear with me, I will show you the whole entire process. Alright, next step. I think this is how I did, or no, this is how we bound the books. So we're going to do this in reverse, apparently. I'm not going to show you how we painted the pages yet, or how we dyed the pages, but we're going to show you how we bound the book. So these are pages that my son did, and this is for his book, and so he's deciding what order he wants to put the pages in. As I said, this process is completely 100% customizable. So he actually got to choose the order that he wanted to put all of his pages into, which for him is kind of difficult because he liked them a certain way, and then he rearranged them and he liked them that way, and then he rearranged them again and he liked them another way. Alright, but the process that I'm showing you here as far as bookbinding is a glue process, which you can sew these as well. I did sew one of the books, and either binding works pretty well. It holds up to wear and tear and whatever. So I haven't had any pages lost or whatever. He actually did unique pages that I didn't do. He actually crinkled his paper as he was dyeing some of it, so it looks older and more worn, and that kind of give it a cool look. But bear in mind that does add some bulk to the cover, to the binding, so you have to take that into consideration when you're binding, because the measurements I didn't take that into consideration. So his binding fabric that we used on the outside, the actual binding, wasn't quite long enough, and so we had to kind of flatten his out a little more than what we had anticipated. But as you can see, I have the crinkly look. It looked pretty cool, and I really wish that we had waited to cut his binding until after he had done his pages, because I think it was a very cool, and we could have considered the extra bulk that would have been caused. So take that in mind. Don't cut your binding until you're completely done with all your pages, so you can see how wide you need it cut. And also take into consideration too, if you're gonna add any embellishments and not just write in these books, or if you're gonna add anything to these books, it does add some bulk to the book, so take that into consideration as well. I didn't do that with one of my books, and it's gapping. And I'll show you what I mean in a future video. But it is, I actually have to tie it shut with some twine because it does gap so much. But I didn't take into consideration the expansion that I was going to do with it. And I think he's almost completely decided on which way he wants it to go. And always make sure you have a plain white piece of paper at the front and the back, because that is going to help with your binding. And this is his cover. Like I said, he has the Dodge symbol on his, so you can 100% customize every single thing that you want. And what we're doing now is I put binder clips on the top and to hold the pages together, and we're just trying to make them all the same, get them all of the same size on the binding so that the glue touches every single page. And you want to make sure you do that. You want to be meticulous about that, because if any pages are not glued, they will fall out. Or if you have any gaps that are super huge, the glue will seep down in and then glue your pages. And that actually happened with this particular book because of how he'd done his pages. We couldn't get it closed enough, and so some of the glue did seep down and glue some of his pages a little more than he would have liked. But this is how you do it. You just put a thick layer of glue along the binding, or along the edge, the back part of the book where all of the pages are folded. This is where you do it. And we're just actually using just regular old copy paper for like a printer. Or I guess back in the day it was called typing paper, or whatever. We're just using plain white printer paper. And you just want to kind of fill in all the gaps. That's what I'm doing with my finger right now, is filling in any gaps that he's missing with the glue. Now, by no means am I a professional bookmaker. I don't do that on a regular basis. In fact, this was kind of my first time trying to make a book. I think they all turned out pretty well. The only one I kind of am sad about was this one, because like I said, some of the glue did seep down, because you see how his binding did gap a little more. I did later on get more clips to kind of clip it closed a little more, but the damage had already been done, unfortunately. And I feel bad because it did glue, I mean, it didn't ruin the book, but it did glue the book a little more than he would have liked. Now we're cutting his ribbon for his bookmarks, because we did attach bookmarks to the actual books so that they can be used, and he wanted to. And it is kind of a thicker ribbon, So I would recommend using a thinner ribbon if you can, but this did work. You just have to kind of fold it a little bit more to actually fit in there. But it did work. But if you don't want to hassle with trying to manipulate it to actually bend and go into the book and not cause a big gap, I would use a thinner ribbon. Maybe a 1/2 inch ribbon or even a 1/4 inch. But this did work. I think this is a 1 inch ribbon. And then we just took that and put it, as you can see, we took the binder clips off and we just laid the ribbon. We had to make sure which side was the top. So if you have any pages that have a specific top, like he has a flag he painted in there, we had to make sure that the flag wasn't going to be upside down. So we had to make sure which way to go. So he's applying more glue. And now he's adding more glue to the spine so we can add the binding. Now the fabric that we used for the binding is a black denim, just from an old pair of jeans that we had. That was, I figured, would be nice. You can use any kind of fabric, or you can even use paper if you wanted to, but I thought fabric would hold up better to the wear and tear. And denim is a pretty tough fabric. And so we just had an old pair of jeans that had been torn a lot, and so they had lots of holes and it was pretty trashed. So we were upcycling the fabric or the denim, and that's what we used as our and you see him applying that now. You don't have to worry about it fraying because all the edges will be hidden inside the book. So he's just laying it onto the edge and then pulling it around. And we just kind of pulled it tight on the glue so that it was basically so you could see the glue coming through to make sure it's adhering. You just push it down and just kind of, and this is the part that I said I wish we would have known how thick his book was going to be, because this kind of compressed it a little more than I would have liked it to be. But there's the binding attached, and now he's just adding a little more glue to the edge of the fabric to make sure the fabric's adhered to the book. And I mean, you basically have a book right now, but this isn't where we're gonna end. Obviously, we have to attach the cover. Okay. Now we're going to attach the cover. So the reason I said to put the white pages on is because if you look, he's adding glue to the fabric and then to the single white page. It's a page that's folded in half, and so he's taking one edge of that white page and then he's applying his cover. He's applied glue to it. He's applying the cover. And that's the part that's going to bind your book. So I mean, it'll be really easy if you ever need to expand your book or whatever to be able to take the cover off. You just can cut the binding itself. But he's just applying it, and then we just smooth it out on the inside. You can't really see that very well, I'm sorry for the camera angle. It was kind of hard when the two of us were working together to try to get the camera angle. So this white page is the page that, like I said, it just attaches everything together. And then we'll do the same with the back side. As you can see, his is not wanting to adhere for some reason, but his front cover kind of bowed a little bit. I'm not sure why his cardboard did that, because we pressed it and everything and it still continued to bow. So I don't know why he had that weird deformity in his cardboard. So you want to make sure when you're picking cardboard pieces for the front cover, you go with something that is pretty smooth. He told me what this symbol was. It's for another car, but I can't remember what the car was. I'll apologize. He's a car kid, so he loves cars. I'm not 100% sure what car that was. He's just adding more glue to the back. And you just kind of want to be liberal with it. And I'm just using regular school glue, but you can use craft glue or E6000 if you want it to adhere a lot better. But this was the glue we had at the time, so this is the glue we used. And this is probably the easiest binding method. Teenagers can do this, and because both of my teenagers were able to do their own books. I didn't help them at all on any of it. I just told them how to do it, and they did it. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that. I did help a little bit. As you can see, I'm helping, but like as far as the creativeness and stuff, I didn't influence them at all. And I only helped when they asked and said, well, what do I do now? I wanted it to be 100% their project. And as you can see, he did put in some like white pages, like not white pages. He tinted them with coffee, but they didn't tint as dark. Like he didn't want them super dark. So he has some plain pages in his book kind of corresponding. So you can totally do that and not have the painted pages. I mean, he's got galaxy pages. He's got the flag page. He's got some permanent marker and rubbing alcohol pages. He's got regular washable markers and water pages. He did a lot of different techniques when he was dyeing his pages. And like I said, that's the fun of these books, is being able to personalize them however you want them to be. And I apologize you don't get to see much on this video, or on that section, but we're just putting the binder clips on to hold the binding. And now, as you can see, his front cover is done, or his covers are on. Now we're just going to glue in his paper that he wanted in the front cover. So I'm showing him the technique I use. So I lay it down and then fold it over. And then it attaches, and then you can just adjust it wherever it needs to be. But that's the easiest method I have found for applying the covers in the front and back. Applied some more glue, and he's laying it in there, trying to get it centered as much as possible. And then he closes the book, pushes it down, and it's pretty well where it's supposed to be. He did trim his paper a little short, so you do see some of the white under there, but that's easily fixed with some acrylic paint. Or you can even add some like cording or string or tulle or just any kind of embellishment on the edges there where the white is. I believe he went in and just painted it black so it didn't show up. And now we're just making sure everything's glued down, all of the corners are glued down. You can actually take Mod Podge and go over this and Mod Podge it and seal it all in, which we didn't do, but you can do that if you would like to. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see it in the background, but we actually have to kind of speed up the process because he's an impatient person. We did use a hairdryer to dry some of the glue. It was sitting on his lap. I don't know if you noticed it. But now we're putting on the binder clip again. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for video number 3 that shows you the completed process. Thanks. Bye.